President Alassane Ouattara, Your Excellency Ambassador Zakaria Kone, Ambassador of Côte d'Ivoire to the Republic of South Africa, Your Excellency Ambassador Zolani Mchochi, Ambassador of South Africa to Côte d'Ivoire, Honorable Ministers, Deputy Ministers, both sides, senior government officials, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the government and the people of the Republic of South Africa, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to you, President Ouattara, and your delegation. Let me thank you for honoring our invitation to come to visit us here in South Africa. Your visit to our shores is evidence of the importance we attach to strengthening our bilateral relations between South Africa and Côte d'Ivoire. I recall with fondness my state visit to Côte d'Ivoire in December of last year, which did much to deepen trade and investment relations and build a stronger bond between our two peoples. A new era of cooperation has been established between South Africa and Côte d'Ivoire. And indeed, it is a wonderful era of cooperation, of working together, trading, and investment between Côte d'Ivoire and South Africa. Your visit today is an opportunity to review progress on the implementation of the agreements and memoranda of understanding we signed in 2021. It is also an opportunity to consider new agreements to further strengthen bilateral cooperation and review the implementation of economic projects that we have identified between our two nations. Since my visit to Côte d'Ivoire, much work has been done to implement the agreement. Our colleagues, our ministers, and officials have been hard at work to make sure that the agreements that we signed were not just on paper, but they were agreements that could be implemented. I've been informed that the departments of our two countries have been engaging each other constantly with a view to deepening our bilateral relations. This we should welcome. I'm pleased to note that our ministers of foreign affairs shared information and exchanged views on matters of mutual interest during their political consultation earlier this month. This is a signal of our shared commitment and confidence that we will be signing a further 6 agreements to further strengthen our bilateral relations. We will be signing memoranda of understanding in areas of transport, social development, social inclusion, forestry and wildlife. We will also be signing a memorandum of understanding on cooperation between our two respective schools of government. We are encouraged by the fact that despite the challenges that were posed by COVID-19, bilateral trade between South Africa and Côte d'Ivoire has been on the upward trajectory. Over the last 3 years, the value of South African exports to Côte d'Ivoire has increased by almost 25%, which is a truly admirable rise of trade. The value of South African imports from Côte d'Ivoire has increased by more than 200% over the same period. This is definitely progress. While this increase is from a small base, it is clear that there is huge potential to increase bilateral trade between our two countries. We welcome the commencement of the flights of Air Côte d'Ivoire between Johannesburg and Abidjan, which started on the 1st of July. This is going to enhance people-to-people contact, going to enhance our tourism, also going to enhance our business dealings between the two countries. This route will contribute to increase the traffic between our two countries, but more importantly, also to the West African region. In turn, this will contribute to the growth of our respective economies. With the entry into force of the agreement on the African Continental Free Trade Area, I expect the volume of trade to further increase between our two countries. The portfolio of investments in Côte d'Ivoire by South African companies continues to increase and increases quite rapidly. This includes significant investment and financing by institutions like the Development Bank of Southern Africa, the Rand Merchant Bank, as well as Nedbank. Among others, South African companies have become very active in the telecommunications, broadcasting, banking, and insurance sectors in Côte d'Ivoire. This lives up to the intent that you and I had, open not only the doors of trade, but also of investment in our respective countries. We believe that there is great opportunity for South African companies, both at the state-owned enterprise level, as well as those that are privately owned, to support the priority sectors identified in the Ivorian National Development Plan 2021 to 2025. These include sectors such as agriculture, mining, and oil and gas, electricity, transport, logistics industry as well. Umgeni Water has expressed an interest in one of the Ivorian National Development Plan projects to supply drinking water to the city of Abidjan. As Côte d'Ivoire prepares to host the 34th African Cup of Nations in 2023, South Africa is available to collaborate with Côte d'Ivoire on the required infrastructure projects, drawing on our own experience of hosting the FIFA World Cup in 2010. South African companies could contribute to the ambition of the Ivorian National Development Plan to increase domestic agro-processing, to derive greater value from the country's substantial agricultural resources. You are a leader as Côte d'Ivoire in many agricultural resources, be it cocoa, be it cashew nuts. You are the undisputed leader globally as well as on our continent. This is where we would be prepared, as we said, in Côte d'Ivoire to work closely with Côte d'Ivoire, close cooperation with investment happening on both sides, and with trade continuing to evolve. Mr. President, We commend the progress Côte d'Ivoire has made under your leadership in nation building, reconciliation. This makes Côte d'Ivoire a shining beacon and example for the region and our continent on the peaceful resolution of conflict. We have been closely following the security situation in the West African region. We fully support the decisions of the 61st ECOWAS Summit of Heads of State and Government held on the 3rd of July this year. We do share ECOWAS's concerns on the recurrence of terrorist attacks in Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, and Nigeria, and the spread of such activities to Benin and Togo. We support the decisions of ECOWAS on the situations in Mali, Burkina Faso, and Guinea. South Africa appreciates the important role played by Côte d'Ivoire contributing to peace and stability in West Africa through contributing troops and police to the stabilization mission in Guinea-Bissau. South Africa is ready to provide support to Côte d'Ivoire within the framework of the Defense Cooperation Agreement that we signed in December 2021. Our ministers of defense must urgently finalize plans on defense industry cooperation, identification of training needs, and other possible areas of cooperation. It is significant that this state visit takes place as we mark 20 years of the African Union since it was formed in July 2002 in Durban, here in South Africa. The 20th anniversary of the African Union presents an opportunity for a reflection on Africa's path to prosperity and peace and on the road ahead. Remain firm in our commitment to unity, solidarity, and cohesion as we work for a better Africa, and indeed as we work together as well for a better world. We must intensify our efforts to realize the Africa that we want by 2063. Within the global governance system, South Africa will continue to defend and promote the primacy of the United Nations in resolving the many challenges facing the international community, including the areas of peace and security, sustainable development, as well as human rights. Finally, I wish Côte d'Ivoire well in the upcoming 2022 FIFA World Cup in Qatar. I also wish Côte d'Ivoire well and the very best with its preparations to host the 34th Africa Cup of Nations in 2023. President Ouattara, my good friend, it's a joy to welcome you here to South Africa. Thank you very much.
Excellency President Cyril Ramaphosa, my dear brother, ministers of the government of South Africa and of the Presidency, ministers of the Presidency of Côte d'Ivoire and ministers of the government of Côte d'Ivoire, Excellency, dear ambassadors, Mr. President, my good friend, I would like to express my gratitude for the warm welcome and all the facilities extended to my delegation and myself since our arrival in your beautiful country. This is not our first trip to South Africa, to Pretoria, but this is our first official visit. And I would like to tell you how proud the Ivorian people are to be received, to have been received by you for a state visit in this important and brotherly country. So thank you again for your hospitality. Thank you to the people of South Africa. Mr. President, let me reiterate my heartfelt condolences to you and to the people of South Africa on the passing of Mrs. Jessie Duarte, who passed away on July 17 this year. She was a great leader, close to you and to President Mandela, to Madiba, who has spent her entire life fighting for freedom and advocating democracy alongside Madiba and yourself. We sent you a telegram to express our condolences. Mr. President, I would like also to renew my condolences to you and the solidarity of the people of Côte d'Ivoire, to the people of South Africa, following the massive destruction and the death caused by the flooding in KwaZulu-Natal, as well as the shooting in the same province, East London, and in the Gauteng region. The President, of course, person from business,